English voices.
Perfect.
Uh-oh.
Welcome Facebook Live.
We're talking about recovery and overcoming adversity. Aren't you getting this on camera? What's bringing the camera over to me? Welcome to the show. We're about to start. Point it over here. I'm an egomaniac.
Oh, beautiful.
Watch out. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Microphones are going on, everybody. And good afternoon, Vancouver. You're listening to Talk Recovery Radio on 100.5.
That's the biggest in-studio applause we've had so far.
Yeah, I think it's the only one we've had so far. So you're listening to us live on 100.5 FM CFRO Radio. We're at Co-op Station down Vancouver Co-op Radio Station downtown at Columbia and Hastings. And thanks for watching us on Facebook. And we got Janice holding the camera over there. And thanks for listening on iTunes, on SoundCloud, on YouTube, and everything. So we bring you addiction recovery stories every week. The show's brought to you by New West Recovery, which is part of Last Door and Westminster House. This weekend's our big family fun day.
Can't wait.
Can't wait. Darren, are you going?
Absolutely.
You bringing the kids?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Yes, family day. It's at Queen's Park, noon till 4. We've got face painters. We've got clowns. We've got Coco the Parrot is coming. And Coco the Parrot. Yeah. Coco the Parrot's coming. Magicians. Barbecue. Lots of people. So Queen's Park, it's in New West. And, why do we do family programming? It's because addiction, when someone's using drugs, the entire family has addiction and so forth, just like cancer. And it's all about getting the family well and helping the family heal. And it's also education. It's like the gig's up. I know you're using me for money and all that kind of stuff. I mean, your family was a big part of your recovery process.
Huge. I mean, still. And always, I think is the key issue there. And it was exactly those types of events where, I remember bringing my dad to a hockey game that the treatment center bought tickets for.
Yeah.
And, just in my mind, that's not clinical, that's not therapy. Like, what does this have to do with anything? And it was uncomfortable and it was awkward, to spend that type of time with my dad. But the sad truth was that we hadn't just sat and done something social in years.
Without the, I gotta go, I gotta get,
Our relationship was based on him staring me in the eyes to see how dilated my pupils were, wondering why I'm losing weight, and me giving the stories. And these events are huge, where families can just, even if they're in the middle of a bunch of stuff and hurt and pain and resentment, like just for that few hours, they can just be a family and enjoy.
We're in this overdose crisis. 10,000 Canadians have passed away, and we're focusing so much in British Columbia on the acute, what's going on and just the relationship between the drug and the person and safe supply and just that conversation's really focusing on the drug. And I'm sorry, but until we help families and the entire family unit and communities get together, I don't think we're ever going to solve this problem, because it don't matter how much of safe heroin I have. Yeah. It's never enough. Yeah. And it's going to kill me, and it's going to destroy my it's heroin, everybody. It's heroin.
I just think when my family, like with today's, sort of like, health, like with the direction that they're going, it's like a Christmas where I'm on the safe supply and I'm just opening presents of like heroin and paraphernalia, and like, thanks everybody, like really we're all supporting the fact that Darren's going to be on clean heroin for the rest of his life.
Clean heroin for the rest of his life. I mean, I don't even know. I don't even know what to do actually anymore. I'm looking at other provinces and what they're doing as well, and more will be revealed, and unfortunately more people will die, and unfortunately more people won't be given the opportunity for direct, quick access to treatment that they deserve. So that's us, Top Recovery Radio. We talk about everything, and we're forecasting the future of safe supply and yes, exactly. So Darren and I interview guests from across the country and actually we've had people from around the world talk to us. We got a great show in line for you. The second half of the show.
Long distance from England on hold for Last Door Radio.
So we've got Janice talking about her personal story of overcoming addiction.
Hey, Twitchy, are you on the line? Because they're waiting for you.
She'll be on the show on the second half after our first break. Darren's going to interview our lively first guest.
Get Twitchy out the green room now.
In studio right now. Darren, who do we talk recovery with today?
We get to talk recovery with Stuart Ellis-Myers, aka Twitchy.
Woohoo!
We've got ourselves a motivational / keynote speaker, as well as an author. And I guess, what do you say, a person who lives with Tourette's?
Well, first of all, I'd just like to say, what an incredible hat you're wearing.
Well, thank you.
It's very sort of Scottish English plaid and all Canadian at the same time. It's
I don't know if I did that on purpose.
very handsome, tall man.
Well, thank you,
I
sir.
feel very short around you.
Yeah.
Back of my neck.
It's a thing I've suffered with, height my whole life. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Talk Recovery. Thanks for coming in.
Pleasure.
We sort of laughed at the beginning that we didn't need to do disclaimers as Stuart doesn't have the swear word type of Tourette's. So I mean, I'm just assuming based on Twitchy, it is Twitch's body movements.
There's a lot of misunderstandings to alcoholism, into addiction, and I think also into mental health.
No doubt.
So the first thing I want to do is to give a big thank you to everybody here in this room, because you've actually been doing this for 5 years.
Yeah.
From my perspective, I actually want to say the F word just through choice, because I think that's effing awesome. So if you need to bleep that out, go ahead and bleep it out. The first thing I want to do is, what I learned along my road is gratitude. I would not be here if it wasn't for Tourettes Ellis-Myers.
Mother?
My wife.
Wife.
In fact, I end every single one of my keynotes talking about life purpose.
Yeah.
And my purpose got really simple when I fell in love with Doris. And
Wow.
I finally realized what an incredible woman she is. And if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here. She's the wind beneath my wings. And it's simple. Anytime I make a decision now, instead of OCDing and literally chewing razor blades, which is part of my life, I just think of Doris and I go, is it going to be right for her or is it not? And my decision making has become so much clearer. And I find that when you're in a process of any kind of pain, like if your hair is on fire, it's all about you in the moment.
Pretty much.
So one of the things I've learned is to become aware of what's really going on inside of you. You talked about your family and about how your dad stared you down. Well, my parents' wives swapped. Yeah, exactly. Normally, when I mention that, sometimes audiences are really key into. I'm 8 years old. All of a sudden, boom! I start to get twitchy. I'm a vampire, so I was born back in the 1800s. My father was a dentist.
Yeah.
My mother was a teacher. My mother's brother was a dentist. It's not an intelligence factor, apart from that in my generation. Obviously, it jumped to generation. Joke. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, when you wake up in a household which has got crazy stuff going on, you have no you just accept it for what it is. So one day, at 8 years old, I'm a normal kid, and then all of a sudden, boom, Tourette's come in, and you start feeling anxious, and you start feeling, it's like a pressure vessel inside of you. And then what happens is, I learned, and I think this is one of the things that really helped me, is you'll see a kid all pressured up with Tourette's and with pre-Tourette's, and then all of a sudden, boom, their body starts to literally ballet and symphony. So whenever, all of that anxiety on the inside. So that's where twitches come from. Everybody
so
twitches
that's
differently.
it's based on an anxiety first sort of thing.
Yeah, and everybody thinks it's, oh, look at that, sort of like, oh, is he going to kill me?
Right.
I've had churches say, you know, we'd like to put you through a, what do you call it?
Exorcism.
Thank you very
Yeah.
much. And I've had other friends who do that. Imagine having to walk down the road and every 30 seconds say the swear words F and B and C and or all the ones that you can think of. The sort of words where even a sailor would go, ah, laddie, those some good swear words. Well, that's a friend of mine, and his name is Mandy. And he lives here. You should actually have him on. But you will need to have a bleeper. He's the most incredible... You know, I met him at 15. He's now 30. And he's gone through his challenges, and he's in recovery.
Because this is a...
Oh, I need to get this in, though. Go to Google and just put in Tourette's or Tourette monologues. And I showed a whole bunch of these videos at a conference, which literally snapshotted mums and dads and grandparents and anybody involved in that process. And it's something I would actually challenge you and your camera to do. I've got about 250 videos. We now do this with companies like Expedia. We started off, incubating this stuff with Coca-Cola. But I just video interviewed someone a week ago who, as a property manager, had to walk in on someone who'd suicided. And there was a drug history beforehand.
Sure.
And the PTSD that he had out of that was literally a blood-curdling scream coming from a relative who found that note. Now, when you get that kind of stress and anxiety and stuff going through your head, self-medication is something that people have a habit of running to. When your hair's on fire, what do you got? I'll throw it on. You got sand, you got water, whatever it is.
Yeah, like it's a quick fix. Is what you think.
Quick,
that
whatever.
That was one of...
Put the fire out.
Yeah, one of my questions. I mean, before you know what's going on, before there's techniques and experience and ages of living with this, what did you do to cope?
That's a really, really good question. I ended up suicide about 4 different times. I figured out after the 4th time I wasn't very good at it. It's the only suicide joke I know. And actually I get a laugh out of it every once in a while. If you've gone through it, you can, and one of the things I try to do is if you take a look at anybody who's had pain in their life, they normally turn out to be comedians. Look at any comedian, and they're actually working out their SHIT on stage. And I'm guilty of the same thing. But on my 4th time, when I was down in a group therapy place in North California, with some of the top notable minds, it suddenly hit me. I'm at my absolute worst. The night beforehand, my whole thing was jumping. I don't want to do pills, I don't want to do anything. Let's get the jump. It'll be dramatic, then I'll be flying, and then hopefully it'll land. But I was stupid enough at one time to think from the 9th floor it would have worked. I went back 10 years later and go, no, dude, you would have bounced on that one. Go 20 floors and do it properly.
Yeah.
This is the crazy stuff that goes through your head. And in the moment, don't buy the lie. If you're out there and you're thinking any of this stuff or resonating it, do not buy the lie. Drive right now. Go see a friend. Knock on someone's door. Everyone's busy. I don't care. You go, oi, I'm about to off myself. I need help.
Yeah.
And as soon as you can get those words out, the good people in your life will come around.
And that's the real sickness, whatever we're talking about, mental health, addictions, the real sickness is the suffering that goes on and whatever we tell ourselves to avoid talking about it, opening up about it, having somebody else know about it, et cetera, et cetera.
What blew me away was I've got OCD. I come in at least 15 minutes early for this. And there's about 4 or 5 wonderful young children in their 20s outside.
Yeah.
And I'm, calling you saying, hey, I'm 50 minutes early because I've got OCD. And there's 3 wonderful kids, and you can see how they are locked in, and they are literally, I don't know what they're doing, but they're basically making up drugs and syringes and taking out, and they're literally stoking up drugs out there right in front. And for me, if you're out there, trot by. And, get a reality check, because these are the people who need the help. And this is what I did, I hope I don't go boo-hoo, every once in a while I do. Oh, by the way, the last year for me, really shitty. I normally find 3 things come along and whack you. I lost my dad, you know, and a couple of other things. You know, what I call the opal me's, and they do happen to all of us. But when you have one or two or three, I know people who lose a house, lose a spouse, and then, you know, they get some other big thing in their life, and that's normally the one that knocks them down. It's like one punch, two punch, and then the third one, boom, you're out, and there's a referee, you know, kind of doing this.
Yeah, but you're not the average person.
I feel it.
Do you know what I mean? You're not the one that's just dealing with you. It's the fact that you have lived experience, you've endured, you've built resiliency. I mean, to be suicidal, to have a condition like Tourette's at such a young age, when there's no real quick fix.
The worst part of bullying is not the actually bullying in the moment. It's the anticipatory anxiety of when it's going to happen. Like if you were the school bully, big and tall, could be.
Yeah.
Just kidding. But role playing. What? But if you were hitting on me, I'd be relieved because I could manage it.
Yeah, and it's going to be
8 o'clock in a minute. When is that bully Darren or bully whoever? Well, that's actually a bloke named Simon. I called him years old.
Sure.
I'll come back and tell that story. It was pretty cool.
But you know what I mean? Like,
I called him up to say, I forgive you.
I feel, and I think you said it, and I say it in my version, that, you know, I've lived with and dealt with and, you know, with Tourette's. Like, what's your excuse? You know what I mean? Like.
All I can tell you is on when I was down on that last time when I was suicidal, the next day I was in this group therapy class, and it was like nothing was left. And there was a wonderful moment I think all of us have when we are just totally and utterly, where your ego is gone, everything's gone. And in that moment, you've got absolutely nothing to lose. And in that moment, I don't know what God is or spirit or whatever, but I remember it felt like, whatever it was, it just touched me for a moment. And I just got this idea. I got a great idea. Why don't I take all of this mental health stuff, of which is incurable for me, and it's anxiety, depression, and bipolar. On the outside of my book, by the way, I have learning disabilities, so I didn't put down MBA or a PhD. Oh, good.
OCD and ADD.
Yeah, dude, you watched it.
It looks fantastic.
Because every once in a while,
you gotta know.
Because every once in a while, someone will get the book 6 months
This is
later,
a professional, like.
and I'll get an email going, I had your book for 6 months ago, OD, and I fell off the chair. I'm just trying to be. In other words, take the mic, have a bit of sense of humor.
Talk about comedians that are dealing with their stuff. I mean, eventually those that have succeeded in living with whatever, whether we call it a disability or an affliction or trauma and pain and stress, learn to laugh about it.
Yeah.
You know?
And you know what I learned in group therapy? Is it doesn't matter if it's a little thing or a big thing to you.
Exactly.
There was one guy in a class who just, when he was 6 or 7 years old, his father had embarrassed him. And he was still holding on to that at 70 years old. He was successful. He had a good life, but there was this one part of him that was chronically always pulling him down. And what's interesting that I found is that, you know, at any given time in a group therapy room, you'll see 50% of the people going, I want to come in, I want to get something, I want to go the hell out of here to move on with my life.
Absolutely.
And then the other half, which are still sort of caught up in that loop, and then our job is to move them from that one into the other side and then pop them out. So for me, it's a sort of a two-phase process. But the suicidal stuff left me when I suddenly got it. I know what I'll do. I've been on the stage since the age of 11. You know, my mum was a singer and an incredible singer and performer. And I watched her on stage. So and here's the thing for anybody listening, all you need to do is to find the 3 or 4 things which are like somewhere in your background life. Somewhere. They're there. Just look inside. You know, normally looking outside for the great big salvation. Yes, great. But look inside. What I found in that moment was, I'm pretty good on stage already. I'm going through all this crazy stuff. I'm listening to all of these shrinks. So why don't I become an interpreter? Why don't I go through all that stuff and then take that out and become Robin Williams with a twitch. That's what came into my head.
Is that where this comes from?
Yes, exactly. And do you remember in Patch Adams?
Yeah.
In that movie?
Yeah.
When he was in front of the psychologist and said, "There's nothing I can do, nothing you can do for me. It's the other way around. I've got to go out and help other people." And I think, I always heard the words service and serve others, just right over my head.
Huge.
But, for me, it took, I'm an idiot, it took 4 whacks in the head of suicide. And there is a clarity, there is a payoff in that moment when you've got nothing left of your ego, because you've got nothing left, and then you can actually rebuild without ego.
I mean, there's books. It's hard to breathe with this. There's books. I mean, the greatest, wise speakers of the world will always.
Rasputin.
They'll all say that in conclusion. To serve others. You know what I mean? To share, to help others, to inspire. But when you're stuck in it,
Here's what I do. That Red Clown Nose, we have given out that to, crumbs. We're up to about, by the way, my goal 20 years ago was to do 1,000 presentations. I'm at 867, so,
Good for you.
and I'm 60 now, so no worries. We're on pace, it's going to happen. And then quite honestly, 1,000, I think I'm just going to take the mic and do a gold, like an Obama,
you have
boom.
to.
And then go fishing every day, and
Yeah,
then just
and then
forget
done.
about all of this. Because my beautiful wife, and she's out playing tennis right now, she's mentally healthy, she's got lots of friends. But mate, when she comes home at the end of the day, my life's up. And if you're out there, I really hope that you have someone in your life. If it isn't a spouse, have someone who loves you. I mean, seriously. By the way, you know what audience is called Doris?
Yeah.
They call her long-suffering Doris, for obvious reasons. So they shortened it to LSD. Sorry, maybe I should have mentioned that on this show, but I am politically incorrect.
So are we, most of the time.
Right on.
So, what are the life lessons?
The life lessons are, put this Red Clown Nose on, and put it on first thing in the morning and walk out. You'll feel like a complete idiot, but you'll become aware of all these voices in your head going, don't put it on, don't put it on, don't put it on. And great, if you don't put it on, at least you become aware of the fact that you're not running your life. All those little voices are, all those little voices are. So put the bloody nose on and then walk down the street, and then all those voices will make go, oh, you're right, idiot. Now they'll go off and get more voices. So then what you do is you keep going saying, thank you so much. The anxiety builds, it goes away, and then you suddenly realize that your focus is off yourself and it's on everybody else around you. And then my suggestion is, with the Red Clown Nose on, start to twitch. I tell people, wear it in your car. Like, you're in a car right now.
Yeah.
Just drive around the radio station. I'll leave you some noses. Put a nose on, and then, walk, when you're in Vancouver traffic, you've got lots of time to do this. Stop traffic. You know what you do? Make the car go back and forth, and then we'll look over. Then you, with the Red Clown Nose on, go, and then just drive away.
And I saw some of your videos where,
Getting over cold.
the different keynotes that you do, and you engage the audience. Everybody's on their feet. There's energy there. Is it a lot of sort of like, hey, pay attention to this? Because you're not going to walk out there and make a fool of yourself and be a goof. You're a professional. But in here...
Yeah, I did. Here's the thing.
Let's get into that a little bit.
I was in business, and I went to a whole bunch of different conference sessions, and some were great and some weren't, and the good ones made me laugh. And what I learned is being on stage it's edutainment. It has to be. If you make someone laugh... Edutainment. If you make them laugh, they'll listen.
Yeah.
And if you make them listen, they'll learn. So I come as a performer. So what I try to do is make them laugh, make them learn, sort of make them laugh, shift. And and get them to emotionally, and as they're emotionally shifting around, the best that you can do is have them walk out there and kind of go, I'm going to do that, or I'm going to do this. This is why we give them a Red Clown Nose. We also do a food fight. And you know why I do it? And this is one of the things I want to share with you. This is a piece of paper.
Yes, it is.
And when you go to work, thank you, sir. When you go to work, this is what normally happens, right? But if you've got a bad boss, or you've got someone in your family who's done something to you, this is what happens. It gets all scrunched up. So companies and families and everybody. Do you really want to be responsible, for doing that to someone's life? Because you live with that. And then what someone then has to do is to spend years and years of therapy, either doing that, or self-medicating to, you know, get to this. And that's the
Hard
challenge.
to do. That's hard to do.
And that's what I try to do, is to video capture people around the world,
There's always
capturing their stories.
So you're
how they had a
always
show.
left with the crinkles,
Yes.
which are life experiences, which are make or break you,
Right.
which are accept or stuff and suppress, which are, you know, basically I'm going to walk outside and make sure nobody sees my crinkle. And if I put this nose on,
Two things I want.
they're going to look
Two
at
things
me.
I want to
they're
leave
going to
with
notice
people,
me.
because I think we're down to the last few minutes. You've got me here, and I want to keep on time. Is if you're ever feeling like I do, where it's just absolutely bereft and dark and all the rest of it, get onto a sofa and hold yourself. Close your eyes and say these words: "I am here." No one else is gonna, you know, help you. I will. When, you know, here, or at least here's one person who is always going to hold you and take care of you and never let you down. I'm always going to be here. And that, all I do is I talk to all the other, you know, little selves of me that go all the way back. That's the tool I got. And what I found is if you grab the tools that other people give you, it's sort of like recipes to bake a cake. Well, you go off and, you know, go bake a cake, but make it yours.
Yeah.
And if I've seen that, people take the tools and they use those to personally adapt and make those.
You
And
are
it-
the most important person in your own life.
And all I want to do right now is to rip that hat off your head and run out this room and not give it back.
It's mine.
That's my OCD. By the way, Twitch is not a singularity. It's a whole bunch of sound, movement, and song. All my Twitch is on the right-hand side of my body, and I actually, I think I'm up to my 33rd million Twitch.
Does it progress? Does it? I don't want to say. I hate using
No,
the word,
don't
but
say
does
it.
it get worse? Like,
No.
does it get more
It's
exaggerated?
like weather. You know, if you take good care of yourself, it comes down. Sometimes it's. You ever
So
something-
it was a mindset that you needed to just accept and know,
Yes.
and because the more you try to hide it or pretend it's not
Well, you
there,
can't hide it. That's the thing.
but that adds stress.
Oh, but the beautiful thing about it was I was forced to not hide my weaknesses away.
Yeah.
Where so many of us are able to do that.
Sure.
So one of the things about therapy is to get your stuff out in the open. Where my stuff already was,
Yeah.
it was there because theatrically I couldn't hide it. I mean, there's about 18 different things I'm doing here, and if I get them just right, then all the anxiety goes away and it comes back.
Wow.
Oh yeah, and then it's, you know, just totally crazy. Love it.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you could give me a pill to
Yeah.
get rid of Tourette's right now, no way. You'd lobotomize me.
That was my question in my head.
I would
that
walk
wasn't written
out
down.
Of, I would have walked out of here going, well, okay, who am I?
Right.
Half of me or more of me just kind of went goodbye.
Yeah, and that's what we talk about on this show so many times is that, you know, whatever you're suffering with, you go to try to find that pill that's gonna take it away and hide it and suppress it. Like, you're not gonna become the person
No.
who's defeated it, who's
Stories.
endured it.
Stories. People love stories.
That's it.
I talked to Mandy when he was having, like all of us, have a challenge. If I've got 1 or 2 minutes left, I'll do it really quickly. And the wonderful thing, now I forget because I'm under stress. Okay, move on. Ask me something else. That's my ADD coming in.
You were speaking about Mandy.
Yeah, and well, I got about 4 or 5 stories. What were we talking about just before that?
The pill, the quick fix, you know, that you wouldn't become who you are today if you could just remove.
Completely forgotten it.
Yeah.
Apart from, you know what the best thing is? Go to Tourette Monologues.
Tourette monologues.
And it just, you'll see it. There's a whole bunch of videos, and quite honestly, Mandy steals the show. And you'll see that right in the beginning, a lot of swearing, and then it'll go away. And then we bring in the music just to sort of help you realize that's the moment when you get to see the real Mandy.
It's like anything. Everything that requires some courage and resiliency for the next human experience that's about to happen is going to come with anxiety and self-doubt. And
Yep.
then once you're in there and you're through that and you've defeated that, it's
3 words. Act as if.
yeah.
And then go from failure to failure with great enthusiasm. That's what I tried to do here today.
No doubt.
And here
I
we
love
are, 20 years later. I never thought this thing was going to go more than a couple of years.
So we never even mentioned the name of your book.
It's Unstoppable.
Unstoppable.
And I'll leave you a copy, and it's on
Do you have a
Amazon.
copy on you?
Yeah, sure. I do.
Let's see it.
Awesome.
Alright.
Yeah, let's see the.
There's actually a little.
Yeah, I want to show
There's a funny.
after his name.
There's a funny story to this.
Stuart Ellis-Myers, ADD,
Which is when we
OCD.
designed the cover.
Yeah.
The designer put my face on there upside down, and I went, "Keep it,"
By accident.
because Tourette's turned my life upside down.
Oh, well done.
So it was like a 5-minute, design job.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Stuart Ellis-Myers,
All right.
Twitchy. Check out the website, which is
itwitch.com. itwitch.com.
perfect. I mean that's it. Like I love the fact of a story of beating it and defeating it and living with it and. Unfortunately, with things like addiction, it can be hidden. You can clean up for a little while, build yourself back up. Scars sort of fade off. Weight comes back on, and you can pretend like nothing happens. But you don't get the story, and you don't get the ability to be open and share that story with anybody and inspire others. So we thank you for your inspiration.
My gift for you, more noses.
Well, I know exactly where these are going on.
And if anybody is crazy enough, I'll sign them on the way out. But there's 4 books you can just give them
Excellent.
away.
Unstoppable is the book. Stuart Ellis-Myers.
If you stop by in the next 3 minutes, you'll get $1 million. And a crappy book.
Yeah. if you take check. This is Talk Recovery, Vancouver Co-op Radio, CFRO 100.5 FM. Thanks for tuning in. And up next, we have Janice sharing her personal story, also in studio. So check out and check out the Facebook Live for that as well.
Let's cut to the commercials.
This is Bachman Turner Overdrive. You ain't seen nothing yet.
Go, Randy.
All right, great show. See you later.
Thank you all. That was a lot of fun. Nice to meet you all.